lights are mysterious from somewhere in the universe. Planets and quasars with all kinds of hidden mysteries in the galaxy. NASA hiding secrets and astronauts discovering things. Mysterious societies from a far-along galaxy. Societies on Earth that have been destroyed with their own hidden secrets. Mysterious objects that surface from nowhere and yet are unexplained on how to use. Whole temples full of ruins, secrets, and hidden treasures. And most of all, objects from outer space that come with visitors that only want one thing. You're watching Hidden Truths. Hi, hello, and welcome today. Hi, help 'em, howdy. Anyway, welcome to Hitting the Truth. Today, we're going to be talking about something from a channel called Unseen Horrors, or Horror, Unseen Horror. Just look it up. You know, they got a lot of videos that might be hitting at some truths that I haven't came upon, but are interesting. But today, we're going to talk about one they had that I found very intriguing. Made me aware of things I didn't know about, and I want to talk about. So, and then I did a little searching for video based off of what they were talking about. And it all has to do, believe it or not, with Ellen DeGeneres. And so this is what we're going to do. And we're going to talk about some horrifying things that may be occurring in Hollywood. Okay? And so this is where we're going today with this video. Remember, it's from Unseen Horror, and it's worth checking out. And so we're gonna watch it, and that's what's gonna happen. Anyway, here we go. Oh, and I look hairy because it's No Shave November. I like that concept, being hairy when it's cold. Anyway, here we go. Okay, so here's the video, and let you see it looks kind of demonic, but in a way what they're talking about is going to be quite terrifying in a way, for people to lose their own sense of reality and being forced to admit and say things that are not true. Pretty much brainwashing tactics, some kind of cultish type stuff. Let's just get into the video.
Sometimes it looks like healing. Before the crash that made headlines, before the fiery wreck in Mar Vista, Ann Hetch vanished into a place no one talks about. A wellness facility with no phones, no press, and no exits.
So, to pause it right there, I had no idea who Ann Hetch was. Okay, I had no idea about Ellen DeGeneres' girlfriends. Don't really care. I used to like Ellen DeGeneres when she started, and you know, she had some stupid little dance she did, and I remember going on a date with this pretty nerd girl with big bosoms, and it could have worked, but I don't know. I'm so used to the ghetto slutty whores. I passed up a good one, but it usually happens with me anyway. There's probably been so many good girls I could have been with. Man, it's a damn shame. Anyway. So I didn't know who Ann Hetch was, and I watched this video and I was like, oh crap, and it led me down a rabbit hole. This video led me down a rabbit hole, and so I kind of believe what this person's saying. So that's all I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna be stopping and analyzing and dissecting the hell out of this thing, because you have to. We gotta find the truth. We gotta think about what is real here, what is fairy tale, and what is reality, or what is fact, I should say. So let's go.
They said she was unstable. But what if that's exactly what they wanted you to believe? I know, because I was there. I worked inside the place they took her, and what I saw during those night shifts still haunts me. Ellen DeGeneres wasn't a visitor. She was a presence. She didn't ask questions, she repeated them for hours, like she was rewriting Anne from the inside out. This was the darkest stretch of my life. I've seen death, I've seen madness, but nothing compares to what walked those halls with me. I never thought I'd come face to face with fear itself, but I did. This is what happens when the thing pulling the strings doesn't need chains, just a familiar smile and the right to rewrite who you are.
So, the guy that's talking isn't the guy that was in the hoodie. Just want you to know that. This is the guy in the hoodie is pretty much representing the story. He's pretty much seen in every video. Don't know who he is. Mystery guy. Okay? And the person who's telling the story, he's using the story this person's telling. Pretty much if you want to be anonymous and you're telling a supernatural story, this guy talks about it for you, and it kind of represents an entity of you. So it's pretty much the story's coming from him through you, or the story's coming from you through him. That's it all backwards. But anyway, so yeah, and so I had to watch the whole video to go, okay, whoa, this guy's not, he's telling the story, but he's not telling his story. He's telling someone else's story, and you'll see. So we'll get to it. This might be a long episode, so we'll just get with it.
Don't call it a hospital. They call it a wellness environment, the kind of language that makes you forget what it actually is. No signage out front, no receptionist, just a half-mile drive through cypress trees to a compound buried in the Malibu hills. The outer walls are smooth concrete with no windows. At night, the exterior lights are programmed to dim by 80%, so the place disappears into the dark. From the outside, it looks abandoned, but inside, it's alive. They use calming color schemes, beige floors, teal-tinted lights, digital waterfalls on the walls that loop endlessly. Soft music plays from nowhere. The air smells like eucalyptus. Everything's slow, quiet, intentional, except for the people. The guests here don't arrive in ambulances. They come in black SUVs, often at night, escorted by handlers who speak in code and wear lanyards with no names. The clients don't go by names either, just numbers, sometimes initials, sometimes nothing.
So, right there is already a sign that there's some kind of hidden society. As you can tell, this is supposed to be on the inside of something you just saw from the outside. Looked like just a little square box attached to a freaking mountain. Like a little construction building or electrical building. That's what it looked like on the outside. But inside, this is massive, glorious, luxurious inside of a building. And it's amazing. But the thing about it is with the rich and what's been going on lately in the news and all types of things in media where they talk about rich people have hidden societies, it's quite alarming. So it's very quite alarming when you talk about how people like Diddy, for example, has all these different places where there's tunnels and all these different girls and things. It's very odd that this man had all this stuff going on for decades and no one realized it. Then they found out through the death of Gene Hackman that there was an underground facility under his place, and that there was people that would come in and people would see him and then he'd never see him again, and they'd come in the house through places that they didn't know, which was actually this, once again, this underground layers. Kids don't even come up with in the subject when they talk about this. So I mean, he's got 3 kids. They don't talk about them knowing anything about it. With Diddy, I think his children did know a lot because of the stuff that happened. There's also something now with Hulk Hogan. I don't know if that was real, but someone has to come to the truth of what's really happening with the I can't even speak, mega rich people in society who has underground bases and stuff. I mean, if we think about it, this all starts with Jeffrey Epstein and how he has this island, his own personal island, but his own personality was to groom young women, and maybe just women in general, because that one woman that got arrested, that was his assistant or whatever, she looks pretty slutty, rubbing his feet with her boobs out. It's something that wouldn't do with a normal boss. So I mean, just honestly, um, this is alarming because this is my point where I say the rich is on a different level than regular people. They have to find ways to entertain themselves, and we are the entertainment. It's no different than if you were to go to jail and you have people in there doing life imprisonment or on death row, and then you come in or someone comes in and they try to get a big bad or they're so gangster or whatever, then that people are going to take advantage of that issue by saying, hey, you know what I'm saying? Oh, go beat up this guy. You know, this guy did this to our gang. And really they're doing it as a way of entertainment because they know they're not getting out of jail. So they'll make you get in trouble, go to the hole, then you're sitting there like, oh shit, you know. Now I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about from observational stills. That this is something that I've seen. And plays out in society all the time. And there's always someone who's thinking they're a leader, or the big bad, or the boss, or just someone with the money, with the power. Excuse me. Thanksgiving food. And they want you to pretty much be their toy, their puppet. There's a movie long ago with Richard Pryor called The Toy. And in the movie, Richard Pryor was down on his luck a bit, and he met this kid, this rich kid, and the dad hired Richard Pryor to be his personal toy and pretty much babysitter. And the kid made him do all kinds of crazy crap, you know, ride, you know, cars and jump in lakes with piranhas and all kinds of crazy stuff. You know, and this is what society does when it's come to the mega rich. They look at us and go, okay, they need money, they're going to do anything I want. You know, and this is why it's not good. And I've said this before, people personally in my life and even on the internet, there's no reason to idolize the rich. There's no reason to idolize the wealthy. You need to obtain money, try to come at stills on your own, take the time to get away from people and learn something on your own. You know, if you believe the learning system is only best in brick and mortar places with professors and stuff, then you're not going to get too far. Your mind is the most powerful weapon you've got, and beyond the fact that your body can be a powerful machine. That's why people work out in gyms, to make their body this is the most powerful it can be. But your mind needs to be worked on as well. This is why so many people get trapped on mental things from the past and traumas and can't separate from it, and are perceptive to evil and wickedness and the supernatural, what this show's based on, and things like that. You be stuck on, you fall victim to all these things that shouldn't be victimized in your mind. And people constantly think things, and they'll be so stuck in them thoughts, and they'll keep going on about it to other people. And then, me personally, when I come across people like this, I say, and it hit me in the middle of the conversations multiple times. I said this recently to like at least 4 or 5 people that I've came across that are really traumatized mentally by certain things they talk about and can't get over the hump, as they say back in the day, can't get over it. You know what I'm saying? And I tell them, why do you think like that? Like, literally, why do you think like that? Who gives a shit? Why do you care? You know what I'm saying? You have to tell them this. And every time I've told these people, these 4 or 5 people I told, it was like something hit them in the head. Like, whoa, really? Maybe I shouldn't think like this. Except for one person who tells me that dude, and then later on I realize he's completely brainwashed. And whoever brainwashed him to think he was intelligent, that person needs a reward. That person needs a trophy. He needs a standing ovation. He needs to be coming down like with a chick with a freaking, I don't know, magical wedding dress or some ballroom dress or something. I don't know. This guy it needs to be like glorified for brainwashing someone that perfect. And so, honestly, if you sit there and let all these concepts and these groups and these wealthy people and believe them and idolize them, you're a victim to the brainwashing and the manipulation that's been put in society to keep us down and oppress us and separate us and segregate us. And that's just my opinion. And so that's the truth of how people fall victim so easily. And money, we all need it. We all want it. And rich people have it. And so because they have that money, that power, that wealth, they can use it any way they want because they know you will give in to it. Now this is where the supernatural come in, especially Christianity or other religions. Buddhism maybe too, because hey, Buddhism says you gotta get rid of all your worldly desires. But you fall victim because you don't want to do that, which means people's faith is really small. And this is why I say they can be victimized to believe in evil and wickedness. And with that, we'll get back to the video. This is going to be a long video, y'all, because I'm going to stop and say stuff. So, okay, here we go. We're back into it.
They're all here for the same reason. Recalibration. That's the word they use. I was told it's a corrective sanctuary for high-profile individuals who need structured healing. But healing's not what happens here. I know that now. My name's not important. I work nights. I was hired as a tech in my early 30s. I'd bounce between a couple of psych centers in LA. Nothing glamorous. The pay here was double what I'd made before. No public record of employment, no outside contact. You sign the NDA, you don't ask questions. That was fine with me. I wasn't trying to be a hero. I wasn't chasing ghosts. I just wanted a job that let me disappear for a while, keep my head down, do the rounds, go home. I didn't know what I was stepping into. They assigned me to Level 3 East, which they said was non-circulating individuals. Translation: people you don't post about, people whose names don't show up on any files. If they died here, the world wouldn't even blink.
So that's another concept too. That's the thing. This is what I'm saying. Like, that's why Jeffrey Epstein was such a threat to people. He was taking, from what I've heard and learned a little bit, because me, I'm not really into that type of stuff. I'm not really into things in the world like that. Some people have to wear me. There's a relative I know that's constantly obsessed with this whole concept of that Jeffrey Epstein thing, and says there was a lot of children that were orphans, you know, or in foster care, and he took advantage of the situation and obviously paid these people off. Hey, there you go, here's $100,000 or whatever. I'm taking this girl, that kid, whatever, you know. That's probably what he did. And so you got to think like this with money. There's a way of leverage. Money is leverage in a way. So it's like, you can easily say, like, even with this place, that they built this place and they were able to say, hey, you know, we're building this, probably got through permits real easy. Here's this money, and we'll donate more money to this cause, and we want to be unseen, and this and that, and, you know, just pay your way out of these things so people ignore you. And then look at the fact that maybe because you're famous, they're just going to go, oh, wow, yeah, anything you say, I trust you, I like that movie you were in. You know, we can't idolize. This is where the Bible, once again, spiritual world, supernatural comes in, and you can't idolize false idols, okay? And a lot of y'all do, and will not give over hump them because for some reason they hold a special place in your heart, depending on whatever the situation was, whatever it is you really liked during the time. They were the only thing you saw on TV or music you listened to, and it got you through some hard times. So that person is constantly idolized or a great figure in your mind. And so that's it, pretty much. You know, just gotta shake that, because you yourself is a great person, a great figure, and you just haven't let that person out. And you're letting too many people and too many things restrict you from making that change. People can change, but they have to have the space to do it. And literally the space to do it means to get away from people, analyze your life, think about what you can do and what you can't do, and try to learn the things you can't do to benefit you. And that's what I'm about to say there.
My job was simple. Monitor vitals, make hourly notes, and submit incident reports if anyone had an identity event, which usually just meant resisting the process.
I fill out incident reports. It's stupid.
But sometimes the guests would break in quieter ways. I'd find them sitting in dark rooms whispering to no one, or tracing shapes into the floors with their fingers for hours. I told myself it wasn't my place to ask why, until they brought her in. It was around 3:10 a.m. on a Tuesday when I first saw her. She arrived through the south gate, the one with no cameras.
So, they're saying that there was no cameras, but hey, right here we got a timestamp at 3-something o'clock in the morning, and it says Southgate. And I just say this is obviously AI generated, because the girl right there is not this Anne Heche woman. Looks more like something from a movie clip, something of that nature.
A black SUV pulled up, and two staffers I didn't recognize escorted her inside. No stretcher, no restraints, just quiet urgency. Her face was bruised, but her posture was proud. She moved like someone trying to walk through pain, without giving it the dignity of slowing her down. They logged her in as guest 7. That's all we were allowed to call her. But the second I saw her face, I knew who she was. Anne Heche. And she didn't look broken. She looked angry. The first few nights, she didn't sleep. Not once. She'd pace around her room from 2 a.m. to sunrise. She spoke under her breath, sometimes to herself, sometimes to someone who wasn't.
Oh, shoot. Okay. So, the thing that makes this story a little shocking is this is supposed to be a famous woman, a celebrity. He says he recognized her. She came in there like she wasn't broken, confident, everything, and in the middle of the night with guards and stuff, in a place where from the outside, like I said, looks like an electrical building of some kind. Just really odd. It's a really odd place. And it's just, the thing about it is the brainwashing concept that is obviously there. And the whole thing is, this is some sick game that you would play with somebody to manipulate them for some reason. Now, we don't know what the manipulation truly is, except for some weird ass crime of passion. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's nutty, okay? But the thing about it, if there is a facility like this, it takes away our famous actors and actresses and interrogates them when they don't do or comply, should I say, to what society want or what the system wants, then we need to be aware of this, because there's so many people who are getting taken out of popularity who at one time were big. Like that Bam guy that used to be on MTV and his parents, and he do all these weird ass pranks, and he was with the Jackass crew, and out of nowhere now he's supposed to be mentally ill, he's trapped, he's locked away. They did the same thing with Britney Spears. Now you got the whole thing that's going on with Bruce Willis and Whitney Williams that had the same mental problems, except for Wendy Williams is getting out of hers, which means that whatever they did to both of them affected Bruce Willis more, because they like probably dosed him more, because hey, he was an action hero, you know. And so it's like a lot of these celebrities that get taken out, and you're like, and you're supposed to go, oh, they're worried, but we don't know what's the real reason for it. And it's even sadder when these celebrities disappear and they come back in some weird state. Like there's some porn star that disappeared and now she's homeless in Vegas, and she was supposed to be really popular. And I mean, porn's a different thing, but still, these people gave their lives to trying to entertain in some way or another. And because of their youth or even their charisma, they're taken advantage of to the point of no return. This is something that could be not just a mental thing, but a thing of spiritual control. Yeah.
There. The mic feed didn't pick it up clearly, but I'd catch phrases here and there. I remember everything. She's trying to rewrite it. He knew. That's why they took him. She never said who she was, but I had a guess. 3 nights later, I was doing rounds in East Wing when I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. I'd taken a shortcut through the main lounge, which is normally off limits after midnight. The lights were low and the room was empty, except for two figures walking slowly down the hallway that led to reconciliation. One of them was Anne. The other was Ellen DeGeneres. She was wearing black scrubs with no badge. Her posture was relaxed. Her hand rested lightly on Anne's shoulder, guiding her forward like a caretaker.
So right there, that's just the craziest manipulating thing right there. And for the fact that, here's the thing that trips me out. And I'm going to switch scenes so it doesn't, I don't know if I get copyrighted or not for looking at the video, or Ellen DeGeneres wants to kill me. So here's the thing that trips me out with Ellen DeGeneres. And it's so odd because all these years she had a show and she got back and famous again, because back in the day when she came out as lesbian, everyone hated her, and she came back with, with her funny dance, which is the only thing I thought was really cool about Ellen DeGeneres, was that little stupid dance she did, and it was funny, right? But the whole Diddy thing, and then there's no one talks about it, right? They put Diddy in trial, all this stuff, right? They had Ashton Kutcher. They named off names, Ashton Kutcher, J-Lo, and so many people. And they were like, oh, these people were part of this thing, these freak parties and all this stuff. Ellen DeGeneres is a shocking one because, hey, she's supposed to be like lesbian, kind woman, whatever, right? And then the crap they did to Justin Bieber, to me, I still see the little dorky kid Justin Bieber. I had no idea all this crap was going on because I'm not into the new music at all. So, but man, like Diddy mess with Justin Bieber, Will Smith's son mess with Justin Bieber, what's her name? Freaking one of the damn Kardashians. I want to say Jennifer Kardashian. I don't know her name, but Courtney, I think it was. Even Kim Kardashian, and then freaking out of nowhere, Ellen DeGeneres, like all these people, like molested this boy, this little stupid boy, right? Like what? The little Canadian boy they took advantage of. So Canadians beware when you come to America, because these people are crazy, yo. Okay, honestly, because look at Justin Bieber as your example of don't be naive, don't just let your kid go out in America, because that's what happened. But I think she needs to be charged with all these crimes with Diddy and Justin Bieber and all this other stuff. I'm not saying Justin Bieber should be charged, but I'm saying if she did do something, she should be charged with that. A lot of things that tie back to Ellen DeGeneres that seems mighty odd, that she can just walk away and go to another country and hide now and not be charged for these things. What is the truth with Ellen DeGeneres? And so when this video popped into my face, on my lap, or however you want to say it, I was like, whoa, this is some dark stuff. Maybe Ellen DeGeneres is what this video is saying she is, and everything else. Because I've been sitting here for a year, like everyone else, hearing about Ellen DeGeneres and Diddy, Ellen DeGeneres and Justin Bieber. Ellen DeGeneres' whole crew was intimidated. She fired people for doing this and that. So wow, she got a fake persona. She lied, she did this, she was mean, and da. So many dang stories about Ellen DeGeneres. So this one doesn't seem far-fetched. And it truly doesn't seem far-fetched when you get to or far-fetched, fetch. I don't know what the proper grammar is there, okay? It really seems like it hits the point with this story. That's all I'm trying to say. So I'll get back to it. But I just think that if Diddy got brought up for charges, Ashton Kutcher, I can go on and on. You guys know already. All these people should be in jail or in trial right now. And obviously Ashton Kutcher, because what's her name? Mullis, I can't remember her name, Mullis or whatever her last name is. She left him, right? Because she knows the truth, right? And then let's not mention the other dude from the 70s show that actually was taking advantage of women in damn near the same way that they say Diddy was. So it's like, okay, what the hell happened to him? He's in prison, but why is Ashton Kutcher free? You see what I'm saying? So those two alone, Ashton Kutcher and Ellen DeGeneres, should be brought on charges. And it should be a big-ass trial. Literally. That's just my opinion. But anyway, back to this. What's the truth with that? That's all I'm saying. Okay, here we go again.
Anne didn't resist. She didn't speak, but her body language told me she didn't want to be there. They passed under a motion sensor light, and for just a second, Ellen turned her head toward me. Her face was soft, sympathetic, but her eyes were locked on me the whole time, as if she'd known I was there all along. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. I turned away before they reached the double doors to reconciliation. I knew what that room was for. I also knew nobody ever came back from it the same. I went back to my station and pretended like nothing happened. Didn't mention it in the log. Didn't flag it in the system. I just sat there staring at the wall clock, feeling the cold creep into my chest. Whatever was happening here, it had nothing to do with healing.
So right there, even his observation that there's a sense of wickedness made him sit there and think and just ponder the situation. I mean, who wouldn't? You're sitting in the facility you're working at, somewhat as a security guard, I would assume. And out of nowhere, Ellen DeGeneres comes walking down with an actress you already know that dated her, and they go and put her in some facility. It's like, what the hell is going on here? That would shock anybody. These are famous people, so you'd be like, whoa, what is happening? How is this possible? And to sit there and act like nothing's going on, if you're not getting paid off, then you obviously don't comply with it. And I think that's why the story's being told, is that he wasn't getting paid off, or he wasn't part of it. He was an outside person that came in, and he was, maybe supposed to come in and try to agree with it. I have no idea. But the whole thing is, this thing, it seems really suspicious.
3 days passed before I worked another shift. I hadn't planned to return, not after what I saw. But this place had a way of pulling you back in. Maybe it was the pay. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe I just wanted to know more. That night felt different. Too quiet. The air itself felt tense. I was making rounds when I saw them again. Anne and her. They moved through the east corridor. Same path, same pace. Anne walked slower this time. She didn't look drugged, just drained. Her arms hung at her sides, her eyes fixed on the floor tiles as if counting them. Ellen, on the other hand, looked exactly the same as before. Controlled, calm.
So, he just said the pay was pretty good. That's why he was there. Once again, 2 nights in a row. And coming from the East Corridor, he said, this is just, like I said, this would be alarming. To see 2 famous people walking around in a facility meant that has secrets that you don't even know about, first off. You don't even know what the hell's going on here. It's like, and if it was a normal mental institution or something, we would be in the broad daylight. There'd be nurses, somebody that could check them in and make sure that this person could see or could not see, because some of those places don't want you to be influenced by certain people because they give you some kind of mental trauma or some shit, right? This is some stuff, man. And then when you look up Anne Heche, or Anne her, I can't pronounce her last name right. Last names suck, y'all. But if you look it up, and I have, and then you just look up the videos of her, right? Don't look up Ellen DeGeneres. Just look her up, Anne Heche or Hosh or whatever, right? And when you do, and you see some of these past videos, you're like, whoa, this woman had a serious, there's like an interview with her. I forget the other actor. I think he's a black actor. I can't remember now. It's been a minute now since I've seen these other videos. And when you look it up, they mention Ellen DeGeneres, this woman has this, you can tell she hates the hell out of this woman. She hates the hell out of Ellen DeGeneres. And then there's another 1 or 2 where she's just talking and she's avoiding it, but every time someone mentioned Ellen, this woman was mad, like furious. And so it's like, whoa, something happened there. Something serious happened there. But I know the feeling from her point of view, as someone who's been in a relationship with people, like this, like, seriously, they bring up this girl, I'm sick of hearing about this chick. Let's stop talking about her. Whatever, I don't fuck with her no more. But people still want to keep talking about her, like you ain't never been with another girl before in your life, And they just want to keep talking about it. It's like, get over it. You know what I'm saying? I done did it to this girl, other girl or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm going out with other women, whatever, right? They don't want to do that. They want to keep bringing it up because that's where they remember you. And memories are jacked up when it comes to meeting people that are supposed to be your friends, family, or co-workers, any of that, right? They want to sit back and focus on a memory of you that's in their mind. And with that one memory of you, they're able to supposedly dictate everything about you. They know your whole life story. They know what you like, how you are. They don't have a freaking clue. But they're going to label you however they want. And then you try to tell them things about yourself. It doesn't matter because they already passed judgment on you. This is why you got to make sure you know you better than someone else does. Focus on making you better, improving who you are, protecting who you are, and yourself and the things you believe in. And try to move forward by trying to succeed at something that you create, that you're good at. And that way someone cannot manipulate you at any cost. But the thing with this situation, though, Ellen had the fame, and was like kind of famous, but not as famous as Ellen DeGeneres had become. And so that's why people always talk about her, to her, because like, oh, she's famous, this and that. And so that's what happens. And in my situations, I had pretty much houses, cars, all kinds of crap. I had girls that was slutty as hell. So everyone knew the girl. So all you in love with her walking, and then, come on. So, I ain't even gonna get in that. Dang it, now I need to go on one of these facilities. Back to the story.
Black. No badge, no clipboard, no need for either. They passed a locked door near the south wing, Reconciliation Unit 3, then disappeared inside. I knew if I followed them directly, I'd be seen. So I tried something different. There's a side room in East Storage, barely used except for stacking old equipment. Years ago, someone had mounted a wooden crate beneath a ventilation shaft for a better airflow reading. I'd done maintenance in there once. I remembered that if you climbed it just right, you could see through the grate into the corridor outside Reconciliation. It wasn't much, just a narrow view. But tonight, it was enough. I climbed slowly, carefully, holding my breath as I steadied myself. From this angle, I could see straight into the room. Anne's voice came first, furious, sharp. Yes, I remember everything, and I cannot wait to out you, bitch. A pause. Then Ellen.
Now that part right there sounds like a conversation that a woman would have toward another woman that they hate or whatever, Like, oh, I can't wait to out you, bitch. Let everybody know what's going down. Whatever. I can imagine that happening. But the thing about it is, no one does anything to Ellen DeGeneres. I just don't get it, man. I'm telling you, it doesn't make sense. Why would they put all that out in public? Why would you sit there physically seeing it week after week with the whole Diddy thing, with all this crap with Ellen DeGeneres, with all this crap with the musician that happened, the musician, the dude that worked for her, and no one questions Ellen DeGeneres on these things. This is like what I want to say, not Kevin Hart, what's his name? Kanye West was saying they sacrifice somebody so they can get fame. That's what he was saying. Kanye West was saying this about certain people, and I can believe this. And this is so anyway, let me just shut up, because this is when the story gets good. Okay, this is where you actually start to understand what I'm saying, and you want to look this woman up and watch these previous interviews, everything when she was alive, and it will get to you.
Calmly, too calmly. Do you remember our relationship? Anne's voice spiked again, hoarse now. I remember you isolated me. I remember you ruined me. I remember you tried to erase me. Another pause. Ellen again. Do you remember our relationship? And again, and again, and again. Anne kept screaming, crying, raging, and every time she stopped, whether to breathe or weep or simply shake, the question came again. Do you remember our relationship? Over and over, always with the same tone, not harsh, not even demanding, just rehearsed, like a lullaby from someone who never learned how to feel anything real. Anne finally lifted her head. Her voice was small, cracking. Please stop.
This is brainwashing tactics, like I said. It's some kind of thing where she's trying to get control over this woman, and just like, you know, to even sit there and question her over and over again. Do you remember our relationship? Do you remember our relationship? It's the crap I'm talking about. And there's like people will sit there that's outside of your crap, and they'll believe someone that's controlling the situation to make themselves look good. Why the person who wanted to get away from the relationship don't want anything to do with it. You know, their name is steady getting brought out in public and everywhere to make them look crazy or the bad person or whatever. So I believe this woman wasn't nuts. I believe she really was sick and tired, especially when you watch the interviews. Like I'm saying, and not even interviews, there's like, you know, paparazzi talking to her in the middle of the street, and she's just saying things of how she feels. But I believe she was angry. She was tired of Ellen, and she just wanted to get away. But there's every time you're in a relationship like that, and you try to get away, and the other person's just dogging you out in the streets, making you look bad, and people don't know you, so they, you know, they believe that person that they know or everyone knows that all this, and they're like, oh shit, well, this person was like, you know, that's not the truth. And so in this situation right here, she has power. Ellen has power to where she's trying to control this woman to get whatever it is she wants out of her. Maybe to shut her up because she was saying things about how she felt about Ellen in public that could have destroyed her image. And that's why she just says, you know, I'm going to out you, bitch. And at the same time, Ellen was probably getting really good ratings at the time, probably big popular on the Ellen show or whatever. And I mean, this is what I'm thinking. I'm trying to come up with as a form of, you know, dissecting this whole video period, and this whole relationship between Ellen and this woman. But to me, it's just like, whoa. But I understand, like I said, I've been there. I had crazy girls, man. And when you're a guy and you got these girls and the laws all around them, dudes ain't got no laws. I don't care what a woman say. No one gives a damn. I can't get no help for bills and finances, anything. I can't go, I mean, there's nothing. I can't get a job by trying to dress like I'm a cute guy or whatever. You know, I don't give a damn. Girls can go in and dress. Oh, you're hired. He did this stuff. I remember working like a dishwasher job, and these girls came in and they were all fine and shit. I said, and then this girl's like, oh, I don't know how I got the job. I said, you got the job because people feel comfortable when an attractive woman comes to their table and takes their order. If you want to see attractive women, right? It's the truth. It's the truth. Women have such such good shit going for them just for being a woman and attractive and beautiful. And the guys want to look at them. Everybody wants to look at them. Girls want to look at other girls even though they don't want to admit it. And I'm not talking about in a lesbian way. I'm just saying, literally, they look at the other girl. Oh, I like that girl's dress. I should get that dress or some crap, you know. You know, there's some women crap I don't understand, like that stupid movie I watched the other day with Demi Moore. There's some female crap in there I don't get, but the rest of the movie was like, what the hell? Anyway, way off topic.
Ellen's reply came like a knife slipping under skin. What did you tell Twitch? The change in Anne was immediate. She stiffened. Her eyes filled with panic. He had nothing to do with it. Please.
So that's the guy. That's the guy that Twitch guy. Let me rewind it a bit. Talking, but that's the guy I'm talking about. The musician guy that worked for Ellen. He died mysterious, and somehow they said Diddy was involved, but that shit doesn't get bring up in court. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of shit that should be brought up.
And was immediate. She stiffened. Her eyes filled with panic. He had nothing to do with it. Please, don't hurt him. Please. Ellen didn't move. What did you tell Twitch? She asked again. Anne began to cry. Real, body-shaking sobs. But Ellen didn't blink. What did you tell Twitch? Over and over. For 3 hours. My legs were screaming. The crate under me creaked with each breath I took. I hadn't moved in so long, my skin felt numb. My fingers trembled as I braced against the edge of the vent.
So there's one thing about this story. So right there where she says, would you tell Twitch or whatever, right? She didn't tell him anything, right? This has to be before he died. So it's like, he just, no, shut up, fuck it. I'm just saying. It's just, like I said, this Ellen thing bothers me. It just bothers me that Diddy went to court. Diddy's the main focus that she did stuff with. Then Ashton Kutcher, the same thing. Oh, we supposedly did a marathon, but yet he knows this about the parties. All these things is going down, and none of these people are going to trial. So after Diddy went to trial, Ashton Kutcher should have went to trial. Ellen DeGeneres should have went to trial. Like, like, think about it, right? If they did all these things to people, why are they walking around? And it comes down to one scenario: they got money. But here's the thing with the government, right? Why isn't they pushing it? Because they got way more money than these actors and stuff, right? How come they ain't pushing force to get these people locked up or in court or in trial, whatever you want to call it, right? And it's because these actors either got some leverage on them, they paid them off, or they're working with them, right? Because think about it. This facility, no one knows about it. It's in the middle of nowhere. People come there. People don't realize it looks luxurious inside. They're being manipulated, forced to do things, drugs, whatever, right? It's like it's all somehow connected, but yet somehow just straight up wrong. And not even just straight up wrong. It's just like, I want the truth, damn it. I know y'all want the truth. Somebody's got to be telling it like it is. And that's the honest to God truth.
Anne had stopped crying by then. She was just slumped forward in the chair, whispering to herself. Ellen remained perfectly still. Then, without warning, she turned toward the wall, and I made a mistake. My shoe scraped the metal duct just slightly, just enough to echo. Ellen's head snapped toward the vent. She didn't speak. She walked slowly to the far corner of the room, right beneath the shaft. She tilted her head, and then she leaned in and inhaled, like she was smelling the air. She walked slowly to the far corner of the room, right beneath the shaft. She tilted her head, and then she leaned in and inhaled, like she was smelling the air, or me. Then she just stood there, frozen. 10 seconds.
So that there, right there, because this is the part where the story changes. It makes Ellen seem like a monster, not just some kind of monster. I mean, come on, you've seen that in the movies. I forget what movie it is, but there's this real strict guy, and he can sniff something, and he's some cocky bastard, you know what I mean? But in this situation, this goes on to the theory of people who talk about reptilians. Another reason why I figured of showing this video on Hitting the Truth is because, okay, now they're saying Ellen is not just Ellen. Ellen is Ellen on top of being a reptilian, and that she's one of the whole time. Okay, that's whatever, and however, and I don't know about that, but I do know she needs to be brought up on charges. She needs to be in trial for everything they be talking about. If this is the case, why is this person walking around? That's where I'm angry at. That's the part I don't get at. And if y'all agree with me, say something in the comments. That's what I gotta say.
20. Her eyes were black, not dark. Black. No whites, no color. Just a void staring straight into mine. I didn't breathe. Then at last she turned and walked out of the room. I left immediately after my shift. Didn't stop to explain. Didn't clock out. I just got in my car and drove until I reached the edge of the county. But even then, I couldn't sleep. The next morning, I closed every blind in my apartment, threw a blanket over the TV, turned off my phone. I lay down in the dark, hoping the stillness would calm me. It didn't.
So, pausing it right there, okay, and switch over. So, now, for a minute there, I'm going to talk about reptilians because they're trying to say that she's a reptilian, but here's the thing, reptiles have eyes. They have retinas, they got a whole thing going on, you know, pupils, everything, okay? They don't just have straight black eyes. You'll never see a reptile with just black eyes, okay? So when you hear that someone has black eyes, I want you to quit thinking reptilian and start thinking demon. Okay, because demons can glass over their eyes and become black-eyed people. Okay, reptilians have pupils, have dilated, what do you call it? Their eyes can dilate. All that, right? Or reptiles, anyway. But once again, I want you to think of the concept that reptilians are earthbound creatures and not supernatural, far-out alien creatures. Okay, but that's just something I wanted to say because I think there's a difference when people speak of these things and they just go automatically to what their mind thinks because they're kind of obsessed with that theory or that conspiracy, and they don't know any other thing to call it but that. But no. I mean, look at any Godzilla movie you see. You got that one pupil turns around and goes, that thing, dun 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 dun. Anyway, I'm just saying. That's all I'm talking about there. On top of the fact that this is some creepy story. This is a creepy ass story. So let's finish it up.
The room stayed dim, lit faintly by gray sunlight leaking around the edges of the blackout curtains. I told myself I was safe, that what I'd seen had just been a hallucination, a trick of light, nerves, stress. And then I saw her, in the corner, a silhouette, not moving, just standing. She didn't speak, didn't move. Her eyes were visible, even in the dark, and they were black. I didn't plan it for long. It was instinct. By then, I knew I wouldn't survive another week if I stayed silent. The things I'd heard through the vents, the things Ellen said, it wasn't therapy, it was erasure. And if Anne stayed any longer, she'd vanish too. That night, I decided to end it. It was just after 1:45 a.m. when I pulled the lever. The facility was designed to prevent chaos. Most alarms were silent, flashing only red strobes in the hallways. But the staff still panicked like ants in a flooded nest. Doors unlocked automatically. Emergency lights snapped on. I ran to the east wing, where room 7, Anne's room, sat at the far end. Through the glass window, I saw her, curled on the floor, still.
So the thing about it is now, is this facility has people, workers, sirens, and all this stuff, man. This is what I'm saying, that if the elite is working with the celebrities, and this facility's there and stuff, and I'm telling you, if you go into learning about Gene Hackman after he died and the stuff that happened underneath his place, plus what they're saying Hulk Hogan has now, and you already know about Diddy and his baby lotion tunnels and stuff, there must be tons of places that the most wealthiest celebrities have where there's underground layers and things. And these UGLs have to be explained. Okay? UGL, underground layer. Okay? Whew, man, it's too much to think about what they're getting away with just because they're famous or that they're wealthy. And the rest of us are out here starving. And in some cases, a lot of us are supporting these people by buying their albums, buying their movies, or watching these movies, or going to events where these people are and paying to sign or get a signature or a photo with these people, whatever the hell it is. You know what I'm saying? We're supporting their sick, demented, demonic behavior. And I think that maybe these people don't deserve as much fame as they get and as much support as they get, especially when their behaviors are benign.
Dressed in the same pale linen gown she'd been wearing for days. Her hair clung to her face, damp from sweat. When I unlocked the door, she didn't flinch. She didn't even look up. It was like she'd been waiting for me. "Anne," I whispered, "we don't have time." Her head lifted slightly. Her eyes, red-rimmed but clear, locked on mine. For a moment, I almost froze. There was a depth there, something both defiant and broken. She stood slowly. No hesitation. Almost like she already knew I'd do this. "Where do I go?" she asked. "Through the maintenance corridor," I said. "I left the gate open. Take the stairwell. No cameras down there." She brushed past me, but just as she reached the threshold, she stopped.
So you have to be very, you have to pay close attention to what's happening, be very aware of what's being said, because the things that are about to be said next woke me up, because I'm like, what are they talking about? Because literally I had nothing to know. Like I said, I didn't know anything about this woman. I know Ellen, but I didn't know nothing about this other woman. And afterwards I did my video jumping about thing and found stuff, and I was like, whoa, this makes hell of sense now. I believe that shit. This is what I'm saying. And so I'm trying to show y'all so you can go, oh, I believe that shit. So just bear with me.
Her hand gripped my wrist, cold and strong. "Never forget who she is," she said. Her voice carried a weight I'll never forget, half warning, half plea. "She'll make you think you dreamed all of this, but you didn't." Then she was gone. Down the hallway, bare feet slapping against the polished floor, vanishing into the corridor I'd unlocked minutes earlier. I stayed behind, heart pounding, trying to clear any sign of what I'd done. I went down to the reconciliation chamber, the place where Ellen had spent hours with Anne, and wiped the logbook clean. I erased my ID traces from the security terminal. If anyone looked, it would seem like I'd never been there. The chamber was empty, still humming faintly from the conditioning machines. The screens along the wall showed frozen frames of Anne's face, distorted and static heavy. I unplugged the main power feed and was about to leave when I heard the door click shut behind me.
So this is the part where it gets a little bit more creepy and sinister with Ellen. Okay, I think I missed the part with the Anne saying something to him, because you know she made you think you dream this, but it started to get to a point where, in a way, she's a precog. It seems like she's a precog, because she starts talking about things that's happening. It's going to happen. That ain't happened yet. Just like he said that she knew who he was or felt who he was before, or whatever. This is a crazy story, y'all. It's very crazy. But anyway, this is the part where Ellen seems more sinister, more wicked, more dark, and evil.
She stepped inside as if she'd been there all along. Ellen DeGeneres.
The name is a trip, though. Along with all this crap that's going on with her being evil and everything, and her like Ellen DeGeneres. She's supposed to be the generous person, and she's doing sowing all these seeds of evil and discontent.
But not the Ellen people know. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't even breathing like a normal person. Her chest barely moved. Her presence filled the room like a shadow spreading across water. And when she spoke, her voice was calm, almost amused. "You've been busy," she said. I didn't answer. My throat locked up. She looked around the chamber, hands clasped loosely behind her back, as if inspecting her own work. Then her eyes, cold and sharp as glass, landed on me. "You think you're helping her?" she asked. "You don't understand. This place isn't about breaking people. It's about fixing memories." I swallowed, backing toward the wall. She didn't need fixing. Ellen tilted her head, studying me like I was an insect on a slide. "She told you things, didn't she?" Her tone was so soft it was almost soothing. Little stories about me, about the past, about Twitch. I didn't speak. I didn't dare.
See, right there. Oh, shit. Crap. That was my alarm thing. Whatever. But anyway, right there, it seems a little. This is where it's kind of believable. So it's like, because if you get into this whole story with Diddy, the Twitch guy, and her, then it's this like some conspiracy. I forget how the story goes. If you watch there's videos on it, just look it up, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And it seemed like, and then after that, Ellen's supposed to be sad and all this crap. And so somewhere in there, during all that, this situation was happening. which once again, I did not know about this woman. I knew about the Twitch thing, whatever. Maybe because I'm black, I don't know about the black people, right? But it's like, I don't know. It's a trip, and it just seems very manipulative and deceptive. Like she's hiding something, and so whatever it is that happened at that time period, it was something where it would cost everything. But seeing how she fled the country during the whole Diddy trial makes it look like she already is up to no good, and just straight up hiding a whole bunch of things she's probably done that was just straight up wrong, and knowing that she might serve a lifetime imprisonment without the possibility of parole. And you have to think about that. What else is she hiding? What else has she done? We need the truth. Everyone needs the truth. So instead of having a comedy show when this woman pops up after 6 months or however many months it was she left the country and then decided to come back and do a comedy show with Netflix, they should put handcuffs on her as soon as she jumps off a plane and put her in trial. You know, and that's just my opinion.
She stepped closer. You know what happens when people tell the wrong story? Her lips curved into a smile, but it was hollow. They stop existing. She stopped just a foot away from me, close enough that I could see my own reflection in her eyes, and that's when I realized her eyes weren't right. They were black, not just dark, not just brown, black, no whites, no shine, like two holes punched through reality. She asked very quietly, "Do you remember our relationship?" The words froze me. I wanted to say no, but my throat wouldn't work. She tilted her head, watching me, waiting. I felt my pulse pounding in my ears. She asked again, "Do you remember our relationship?" Silence. My breath hitched. She asked again, "Do you remember our relationship?" Silence. My breath hitched. For a moment I saw flashes, faces I didn't recognize, a flickering reel of memories that weren't mine. Anne screaming, Twitch looking terrified, Ellen standing over them like a judge. I realized then, she wasn't just asking, she was pulling. She wanted me to forget. She wanted me to give her the answer she'd been craving from Anne. And then instinctively I whispered, "No." The tension in the room broke like a snapped wire. Ellen stepped back, her black eyes gleaming just for a second before they cleared, returning to the pale blue she showed the world. She smiled, a real smile this time, or maybe a reward. "Good," she said softly, like a teacher pleased with her student. "You're learning." And she turned, opened the door, and walked out without looking back.
You see, that's some sinister stuff. That's wickedness. Like I said, the black eyes represent demonic behavior. The whole thing is that she admits that it's a place to mess with your memories and your mind, make you forget or whatever. You can believe that I would assume that the government would have some involvement with manipulations of the mind. I mean, because literally this whole thing, this whole chessboard we call America is manipulating everybody's mind constantly. So I could believe this, okay? And it just gets even more darker and wickeder, if that's a word. Anyway, my point being, this is a story where whoever this guy is, he has a right to be hiding and then telling a story through someone else, because this type of thing could get you taken out, I believe. I don't know. I just believe that with all the knowledge that we have on Ellen and all these other celebrities, that a lot of them need to be investigated for their crimes and found out if they have things that show they're committing crimes, and that's just my opinion.
I stood frozen for what felt like hours. By the time I got to the lobby, the fire department had arrived. Alarms blared as firefighters checked every hallway and chamber. They found no smoke, no fire, no cause for the alert. False alarm, one of the captains muttered. Back to work, everyone. But I didn't go back to work. I didn't clock out. I didn't even grab my bag. I just walked straight out the back exit, past the trucks, past the staff, past everything. And I kept driving until the building was just a shadow in the rearview mirror. That was the last night I ever set foot in that place. I didn't turn on the news for a few days. I stayed in my car the night I left, slept at a truck stop just past the Arizona border. I didn't eat. I didn't think. I just watched the lights flicker across the highway and replayed one moment over and over again in my head. Do you remember our relationship? No. I didn't know if that was the answer she wanted from Anne, but it was the one that got me out of that room. And it felt wrong, like I had given something up. 3 days later, I saw the headline, Anne Heche critically injured in fiery crash. The article said her Mini Cooper had slammed into a home in Mar Vista. It caught fire. Took firefighters nearly an hour to get her out. They said she had burns, that she was in a coma, that her condition was grave. They didn't say anything about the footage.
So, pausing it right there. And I'm going to explain why.
It was nearly an hour to get her out. They said she had burns, that she was in a coma, that her condition was grave. They didn't say anything about the footage, but I saw it. We all did. There's a video taken from a helicopter, air support over the scene. The car had already been extinguished. The shell of the Mini Cooper blackened and warped. You can see the gurney, the white tarp covering her body. They're loading it into the ambulance. And just as they reach the back doors, she sits up, violently, furiously, like someone being pulled out of a nightmare. The paramedics jump back. You can hear someone gasp on the helicopter feed. They try to hold her down, but she's fighting, struggling, like she knows this is it. Like she knows she was supposed to be gone already. They sedate her seconds later, and the tarp falls back over her face. I stared at that clip for hours, and all I could think about were her words to me the night she ran. If I move, if you see me move, that means I'm still trying. She was still trying. Even then, they said she died days later. But the timeline doesn't make sense. First they said her condition was stable, then they said it was critical, then brain dead, and then just like that, gone. But the records shifted too fast. Her room sealed, her name scrubbed, her final podcast episodes pulled, the documentary she was working on, gone. And Ellen? No comment, no tweet, not a single public word. 4 months later.
And here's the funny part. If you look down, she's got a lazy eye, like her eye is going lazy, like, I don't even know how to say it, but it's like she got a lazy eye right here. But anyway, everything he's saying, I went and looked for, and I got the video, and I'll play it after the ending of this, so you can see what he was talking about.
It happened again. This time it was Stephen Twitch Boss, found dead in a hotel less than a mile from his home. No note, no warning, no explanation. They said suicide, but the front desk said he didn't seem distressed. Security said they never heard the gunshot, and the timeline again didn't line up. He checked in with a bag, sat at the edge of the bed, and vanished from time. I remembered what Anne said that night in the chamber. Before the whisper, "What did you tell Twitch?" It was always about the tape. Something she gave him, or showed him, or said. Maybe she was trying to warn him. Maybe she did. And maybe that's why they're both gone. I started seeing things after that. Not ghosts, not people. Just signals. Blacked out license plates following me for too many miles. An envelope on my doorstep with no return address. just a Bible page torn down the middle. The same passage James used to tuck under her door. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. John 1:5.
So, what I'm saying here, we get it off of Ellen. She's a little terrifying to look up this close. So, here's the thing. Okay, so the whole thing with Twitch, okay, and off the tape, and here's this Ann girl. She's talking to him, and then Ellen's trying to figure out what she gave him. And then there's this whole thing with the Twitch thing. Like I said, if you look at some of the other stuff with Diddy, you realize he had some kind of connection with this guy. And I think that, if anything, it has something to do with the cover-up of Diddy that Ellen was fighting for here. This is what I believe is happening. On top of the fact that the demonic behavior, maybe they're worshiping some stupid god like Morlock or something, okay, demon or whatever, not a god, but still, that's what I believe happened. I believe that Ann gave him some kind of information based off of Diddy's parties, or something that was violently done at Diddy's parties, and it has something to do with Ellen, or Ellen did it or something, and trying to cover it up. And that's probably why Ann left her, and then Twitch ends up getting killed, even though they say it's suicide, like this guy's explaining right now. This is what I believe. But either way, the truth has to be out there, and like I said, charges and things need to be put against these people.
There was no note inside, just that. And once, only once, I thought I saw her in the reflection of a store window. Blonde hair, hospital gown, red-rimmed eyes. But when I turned around, no one was there. I know what people say. They say I'm making it up, that I'm mentally unwell, that maybe I took in too much of Ann's paranoia. But I know what I saw, I know what I heard, and I know what she told me. She'll make you think you dreamed all of this, but you didn't. There's one more clip I need you to see, from the Ellen show. Diddy's on stage, joking with Ellen and Twitch.
See, this is my point. This is my point right here. I actually forgot about this part in the video. I was actually wondering why the video is so long, because I remember watching it, but I did not remember this part. But this is the point I'm saying, right? Ellen has something to do with Diddy, okay? Covering up Diddy's bullshit. And from what you just seen, with this whole facility thing, the manipulation of people's minds and memories, and then Ann, and now this guy Twitch, I would have to say that she was Ellen, or she was Diddy's enforcer to wipe clean of stuff. Some kind of person to wipe her. Even though it just seems like she's just some dorky, little lesbian woman, she's actually some badass, demented, just deranged demon human hunter. It sounds crazy, but that's exactly what it looks like here. What else would it be? Anyway.
Crowd laughs, claps, eats it up. Then Diddy says, I got tapes, and Twitch freezes. You can see it in his face. Something breaks. And Ellen? She turns her head and stares at him like she's about to devour him. The smile on her face doesn't move, not once. It's like it's carved in place. You think I'm the first to talk? There were others. People who worked inside, people who knew. They're just gone now. Some of them quit, some of them vanished, some of them forgot. And that's the scariest part, because Ellen doesn't need to kill you. She just needs you to forget. I haven't told anyone where I am now. No more phones, no more interviews, no more names. But I wrote all of this for one reason. Because Ann remembered, Twitch remembered, and now they're both buried. So I'll ask you, do you remember Ann and Ellen's relationship? Let me know in the comments.
And so this is what led me, that last comment where he said, do I remember Ann and Ellen's relationship? And I was like, I don't remember this woman. And then I went on this big journey. Wait a minute. So then I went on this big journey to find out who Ann Hush was. and it led me down a rabbit hole of so many interviews and things where, and I mean, I've seen some where they were happy together, like, you know, paparazzi coming up to them. I've seen other things. I mean, there was videos where she starts to get really pissed off at this woman, like she don't want to have anything to do with Ellen, and it was just like, wow, I can't believe this is something that went over my head. But I wasn't a person that watched the Ellen DeGeneres show. I wasn't really into that. You know, as Ellen to me was when she first got on the scene. She had a sitcom, and then I remember taking this nerdy girl to watch the movie Mr. Wrong, which was the only Ellen DeGeneres movie ever, which probably ruined the whole damn date for me. So, but because they say it's the worst movie, but it was all right. It had that guy from Spaceballs as the love interest. But anyway. So I did it with this guy suggested. I remember a relationship, and I didn't remember it. So I went looking all over the internet and seeing videos and clips and stuff. And in the midst of that, I found the one that he's talking about, where there actually is proof that this woman hit a car, and ambulance took her away, and she got up everything exactly the way he explained just now in the video. And so I'm going to show that now. Alright, I actually filmed this part already, and then this, whatever, here we go. I messed up. Okay, I'm going back and forth, this and that. Hopefully I can edit it good enough so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So this is a video, this is a kind of a pre-recorded video of what happened. And the original clip that I had found at one time is a trip, and I'll explain it when it gets to that part. But there's different videos of this accident that happened. There's one where they show the car flying by, and then, you know, whatever. There's also someone in the comments, and one of the videos explains what happened inside the home, that the woman inside the home knew that the house was going to get hit or something, or she moved right out of the room right when it happened, something like that. But anyway, here we go.
As we continue to learn new developments into that car crash in Los Angeles, and as the driver by TMZ and Fox 11 out there in Los Angeles identified as Anne Heche. Let's take a look one more time at that video that we saw earlier this afternoon of a car going into a house taking place there out in Mar Vista.
House of Preston, and car slammed.
As we can see the helicopter video there of the car in the house, you can see firefighters on the scene there taking that car out from the house. Fox 11 in Los Angeles said the driver went into that house and sparked a fire. Firefighters were on the scene just before 11 a.m.
Now I'm telling you right now, what we're watching has been edited to crap, because I've seen the original clip. And in the original clip, yes, they're pulling the car out, right? And they're looking for a body and all this. And then here's the gurney with Anne Heche in it, and they're pushing her, driving her around, and then she starts to struggle. And then here's the thing that's so weird about it. The way these guys were acting before she jumped up, it seemed like they were acting, period. The whole thing is act. This is something you would see in an action movie or a suspense thriller. And it's a trip.
a.m. on the West Coast. A car, a Mini Cooper, you can see there, went through the house, causing a massive fire. Within an hour, the firefighters, LAFD, had eventually pulled the car out of your home. You can see it was towed out of the home there. Firefighters still looking in the car to find possible survivors. The driver was rescued, as you'll see in this next little clip we're going to transition to.
See this is where it's edited to hell, because literally the other one is longer, and I'm gonna find it and try to put it together, and you'll see the difference if I played it, because there's things that's being said by this helicopter cameraman that makes you even more terrified and makes the other story come together. I thought this was that video, but it's not. So, but either way, it's still explaining the point.
Real quick, they were taken to the hospital, as you can see there, in a hurry to get out of that car that crashed into that home.
Now, as you see, they're all carrying her here in this gurney, and she's covered up. Now, usually when someone's covered up, you think they're dead like this.
They were worried about the structural damage of that home as it was built in the 1950s, and you could see the house give way a little bit there in the house. So they were concerned about that, and also concerned about the person, the driver, who was identified as Ann Heche. You probably know the name from TV and movies, from 6 Days, 7 Nights, Donnie Brasco, Wag the Dog, Volcano.
So look, now it's opening up. But these guys, their body language was like, especially if you've seen the other video, their body language seems like they're playing a role, like they're acting this thing out. I would believe that these are the same firemen that came to the Hinton facility that they talk about. The guy talks about in the story that says, hey, there's firemen and all this stuff, and I just walked out, right? I'm believing these are the same firemen, and they're trying to bring her back to that facility. At least that's my opinion.
A bunch of movies, and there is a dramatic moment there just before being put into the ambulance to take to the hospital. That driver was identified as Ann Heche. You can see we slowed it down a little bit for you as
As you see, she's popping out of
firefighters were trying to.
She's coming up. She's probably yelling like, no, whatever.
To help this woman.
And look how these guys are. They're not like stopping. Okay, most people, if she was supposed to be dead, they would have stopped, and before they put her in the damn van, and said, okay, are you breathing? Are you okay? Something, anything. And the fact that it's firemen instead of just like normal, because firemen and should I say ambulance workers don't dress the same. So the fact that there's firemen and not ambulance workers putting her in the ambulance is odd too. And most people probably never recognized that before, but I've dealt with firemen and ambulance people so many times. I know the difference between costumes or whatever you want to call it, suits, okay? And obviously, this doesn't make sense. This has to be the same firemen from that facility. But remember what the guy said. He said, if you see her fighting back or move, that means she's trying to fight back. And so that's what's happening there. She's moving, she's trying to fight back. It means she was precog. She knew this was going to happen. And precog psychic. And so then you think about it. You know, Ellen DeGeneres was in some facility to work with people against people's memories and to mess with their minds. And here's this woman that is a precog and stuff. And Ellen knew it and wanted to mess with her mind. Might have been a challenge. And that's why they put her in this facility, to try to challenge to see if they can break someone with psychic abilities. That's just my opinion. On top of the fact that they're saying Ellen is a demon. Crazy. It's so heavy, it's like 4,000 tons crushing your skull, man. It's some deep stuff, but needs once again to be investigated.
The help that she needed from the hospital as she crashed into this house, and the fire, like you heard just me say a little bit ago, they were trying to put that out. Of course, we are still trying to track down some details on how that happened and why it happened, and an update on Ann Heche as well. But the details right now are that driver identified by TMZ is Ann Heche, the actress. It was sparked a fire, and they pulled her out from the vehicle after pulling the car out from the house, and they tried to get her.
See, look how many firemen are coming, right? I mean, there's fire trucks everywhere, right? But if you notice, once she comes out, and she comes out of here or whatever, and she's down here, all the firemen are moving this way because this is the thing they came to get. The house isn't really destroyed. Well, I mean, it's destroyed, but it's not on flames. So it's like, what's happening here? Very weird, very odd, somewhat staged capture.
Medical attention she needed as she went.
Look, every fireman is heading the way that they're taking this girl. It's crazy. Just watch them. Look at the firemen.
To the hospital, you can see again one more time. She is on the gurney there and tries to get up before going in the ambulance.
See, and look, this guy here, he pushes her back down. He's trying to push her down. This woman's trying to escape. This is too much. This is just, I mean, I can go on and on with the same clip, and I can still find the original one that I seen, because when you hear the words of the airplane or helicopter guy, like I said, it's kind of terrifying along with the video you just saw. So it's a trip.
minutes, but firefighters get her in the ambulance and take her to a nearby hospital just this afternoon in Mar Vista in Los Angeles. And this is, of course, courtesy Fox 11, the helicopter there, as they were on the scene throughout this ordeal, as they were there trying to get the car out, also putting out a fire. So doing a lot of different things there in Los Angeles.
So there's a comment in here. Anyone finds it extremely bizarre that they had the body completely covered up. I have multiple family members that were medics, and usually one of the first things you do is get oxygen on someone. You wouldn't declare someone dead unless a long period of time has passed. Highly strange and actually very suspicious. This one says, I don't think those guys are real firemen or firefighters. There's a comment in here that explains what happened in the house, though. And you just have to go through these things. And it might be the other video. This comment says, the other odd thing about this was how reports say that it took time to identify her as her face and burns beyond reconstruction in this video. None of her upper body looks burned. Something isn't right. Okay, so I mean, I can go on and on and on, but I'm telling you, this has to be the biggest, weirdest cover-up, not by the United States government, but by actors, by celebrities. This is crazy. This is madness. So, I have one last little tiny video, okay, I'm telling you. I know this whole video itself has been way too long, but I wanted to tie something together, what was said in the main original video about Ellen, Puff Daddy, and her worker, Twitch, who was a musician on her show. And his mysterious suicide and stuff that hasn't happened in this video or talked about in this video, but there's a whole different video about that. So I said go and look at this guy's channel and see what's going on. There's tons of videos on other actors, celebrities that may have some kind of demonic possession and wickedness. Like I said, don't think when you hear black eyes you think of freaking reptilians, because that's ridiculous. Maybe some of y'all are afraid of reptiles or haven't been around them, and you don't realize their eyes don't turn black, completely black, you know. There is, like, I think newts, but newts are amphibians that have black eyes, but like a snake has eyes, has eyelids, stuff like we got, you know what I mean? So there's bearded dragons, Komodo dragons, like I can go on and on with reptiles. I used to own freaking reptiles and amphibians because I had Pac-Man frog. That's a long story, but anyway, shorten it out, okay? I know this has been a long video, but if you made it this far, go ahead and subscribe. You know, I got a lot of good stuff coming up. And honestly, you know, just try to put your imagination out there and honestly think, is what we seeing real? Is it the truth? Or is it truth orchestrated by people who want you to believe something that only they themselves don't believe, and actually try to give us something that can manipulate us and guide us into things that might be bad for us, to take us away from virtue and God and the truth that we truly need, the truth that I'm trying to hit right now, a truth that could actually change things for the better. And if so, maybe these things, these idols, these people just ain't worth your time. With that being said, let's get into this video.
That means. Anyway, all right, let's.
I mean,
you hold that.
okay.
All right.
I keep this. Take two if the joke didn't work. I
No, it's
mean,
okay.
I don't want no problems.
No, it's okay.
No. Hey.
So as you see, Diddy made a comment. If you hear it, you know, he was talking about some tapes, and the Twitch guy looks bug-eyed, and Ellen just laughs it off. Either way, it is disturbing once you tie it together with the story we heard. I hope you appreciate this video, and I hope you guys come back for more. And like I said, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.